This year, 4th of July, the United States is celebrating its 250th Independence Day celebrations. President Donald Trump plans to showcase American strength with a display of raw individual power, not by a military parade but through the octagon. Trump administration, along with Dana White, the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship (UFC), has announced a premier mixed martial art event on the White House grounds, elevating the sport once branded as human cockfighting by the US government to the ultimate symbol of the nation's spirit. Hello, my name is Sai, and you're watching The Print.
We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this on the grounds of the White House.
4th of July 1776, a group of rebels in Philadelphia signed a document that defied the world's greatest empire. Fast forward 250 years, and the defiance has evolved into a global superpower that defines itself through its culture and its unfiltered brand of freedom. America's 250th Independence Day celebrations officially began with a kickoff around Memorial Day 2025. The country is engaging in massive traditional celebrations like the International Naval Review, the Spirit of America Parade, the Great American State Fair. However, the UFC remained the clear disruptor. The White House South Lawn was a place for handshakes and photographs. But on its 250th birthday, the tradition is being broken. The administration is moving the White House from a house of ceremony to a house of combat. UFC Freedom 250, scheduled on June 14, 2026, will be the first ever US professional sporting event to be physically contested on the grounds of presidential residence. The South Lawn will feature the Claw Arena, a specialized structure built specifically for the professional combat. To understand why a case is sitting on the White House lawn today, we have to look back 25 years to a place called the Trump Taj Mahal. It was at this Atlantic City casino, named after the Indian crown jewel, that the UFC found its lifeline in 2001. In January 2001, Dana White convinced the childhood friends Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta to buy the UFC from then owners SEG. At that time, the company was a disaster. Under the previous owners at SEG, the UFC was a political target. The government used UFC as a punching bag to show moral authority. The previous owners had even lost the domain UFC.com, which has been sold to a company called the Users Friendly Computers. By the time Dana White and his friends acquired the UFC, major cable companies across the country stopped carrying UFC pay per views. At around the same time, the Trump Taj Mahal, located in the Atlantic City, New Jersey, was no longer the eighth wonder of the world it claimed to be at its 1990 opening. It was drowning in debt. It had already gone through Chapter 11 bankruptcy once, and the glitter was fading. The carpets were worn, and the opulence was being replaced by a sense of survival. Dana White and UFC are desperate. They were kicked off TV and banned in almost every state and struggling to find the venues. They reached out to various venue owners, including the Trump, hoping for a place to host their first event under the new ownership. Trump was willing to take the risk that other respectable venues like MGM or Madison Square Garden wouldn't. He saw the UFC not as a sporting event, but as a way to bring high rollers and young aggressive spenders into a casino that was losing its edge. Taj Mahal said yes. UFC 30 and UFC 31, hosted at the Taj Mahal on February 2001 and May 2001, are major turning points in the UFC. It is where the UFC introduced the unified rules for MMA. By providing a high-end palace for these rules to be showcased, Trump helped UFC transform from human cockfighting into a sanctioned professional sport. Trump helped the sport to get regulatory legitimacy when politicians were trying to ban. Without the Taj Mahal, the UFC would have likely died in 2001. As the UFC go into a $12 billion market today and as Trump moved into politics, their friendship became symbiotic. Trump is regular at the UFC pay-per-view events like the UFC 295 and 302. These appearances are not just for fun. They allow Trump to connect directly with a bros peer, a massive young male democratic that values the raw, unfiltered strength that both the UFC and Trump project. The friendship between the Trump and White is a masterclass in parasocial politics. By sticking together for a quarter century, they have merged the world of combat, entertainment, and politics. The journey of UFC from Trump Taj Mahal to the White House isn't just about a sport. It was about the Vegassification of the global republic. We have entered a new arena where the line between the celebrity and the candidate has vanished. Whether it is Washington, Moscow, or India, power is no longer is just about who holds the office. It is about who controls the show. In 2026, the ultimate symbol of freedom isn't a monument or a document. It is a spectacle. Thank you.